Hi guys, welcome back to the new season of Coffee Morning Laughter. It's your girl Shields.
And it's Jen.
So we are back and it's been so long.
Years.
It hasn't been years, it's been months.
Have you missed me?
I really haven't.
Oh,
Yeah.
She's missed me.
I haven't. But we're back here and Genesis here. New hair.
Oh,
yeah.
hi. I went blonde.
You went blonde, new hair, yeah. It's
So-
autumn, so I thought I'd try something different. Yeah, but here we are, guys, and we've had a long summer. We've been away, but you've seen us on the blogs, or you've seen us on different social media outlets, and we've been able to speak to you guys about just different things that we've been doing over the summer.
I've been keeping them updated, saying that I'm around.
Genesis has been obviously, I'm not a internet person, but I scrolled it. But Genesis has been more here present. However, we've come back in September, and September is always a nice month to come back into. However, it's such a serious and heavy month. So September is a month where you've got two major subjects, or topics as it were, that raise awareness. So we raise awareness for sickle cells, and we'll also shine a light and raise awareness on suicide.
Yes.
So we've already been doing that on the podcast across the platforms. You've seen it, seen it go around. We've already aired out and just reminded people of the episode that we had with some sickle cell warriors that worked with the podcast previously. So on this particular week, we are just going to be looking at different subjects, but topics, I guess, that affect people with sickle cells. Now, we've chosen to take the frame of, taking it from the angle of love, and how is it that people can be in relationships when they are sickle cell carriers and whatnot. I think it's not a secret that my sister's been on this podcast before, and many of you know that she does have sickle cell, and she's spoken about it before, and some of the voiceovers that we had in this month of the Sickle Cell Awareness was her voice over going across the platforms. Now, Jen, what's been your experience of sickle cell?
So for me, it's actually, I was saying to Shields earlier, it's a bit of a sad one because my aunt had sickle cell who passed from it, and we know several people that live with sickle cell, and I've been with friends who have had crisis, and so it's one that has always been, I think especially African community, Congolese community, has always been like a stigma. So when my aunt passed from it, I think it was till I was older, I didn't know that it was actually sickle cell. And then it was my mum explaining to me, so when you put all the pieces together, you're like, it makes sense because so-and-so goes through this, because you've actually seen it now. But at that young age, I wasn't really exposed to it. So
I think, when people talk about sickle cell, it's always missed out on well, if we're going to title this, let's title it When Love Meets Sickle Cell.
Absolutely.
Like, this is a conversation that does actually matter. I mean, so if we're looking at intimacy, being in relationships, what one needs to do, the stigma that comes with it, like Genesis said, and even like sometimes people that have gone through sickle cells or have sickle cells, they sometimes feel as if they can't get with people. And so basically, Genesis is really good at doing this. So we've written it down to kind of like explain what sickle cell disorder is. Genesis, your English that we want. It's your English.
We're back. I forgot.
It's your English that we want.
Okay, so obviously sickle cell disorder is inherited blood condition that affects red blood cells. So instead of being around and flexible, some cells become rigid and shaped like a crescent or
moon,
sickle,
half moon.
half moon. So basically, these mishappen cells can basically
they block the
blood flow and break down, so it doesn't break down more quickly.
And then it affects your oxygen. Hence, you then go into a sickle cell crisis. X, Y,
and
Z.
this causes you, so that's when it causes you the episodes of severe pain, anemia, fatigue, and increased risk of infections and other complications. So that's where I used to see certain friends, when we used to see an episode, you actually didn't understand it until, I think it's now with age shows, I can honestly say that being exposed to it, the realities of it, it's like, oh my God, this person used to go through at such a young age.
Yeah.
And we just used to think,
that person's always sick.
They're just dealing with it,
Yeah.
you know?
We didn't even know what it was called.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I can't say that because I grew up in a household with somebody that had sickle cells. Do you know what I mean? So a lot of my childhood was open to, you know, my sister having crises and crises. And obviously, she was going to have kids, and her kids experience her having crises. And it's something that one has to be educated about.
Yeah.
And you know, the question then will be, how does one get sickle cell? Yeah. You can't catch sickle cell with, hey, I've touched you, now I've got sickle cell. No. Oh my God, it's not that. Just like you just can't catch HIV by touching somebody or giving somebody a hug. It's not that. It's more about sickle cell. It's a gene condition. Yeah. Because I guess let's get educated. Yeah. It's a gene condition. It's not through the blood. It's not blood transmitted. It's nothing like that. It's just in your genes. Now it is known that the sickle cell disorder, as they don't call it a disease, they call it disorder. Yeah. It is mostly known within the Black African Caribbean community. Yeah. And sometimes that statement there has led the Western world to delay their development in finding what's the word? Hey, English will embarrass you. Yeah, English will embarrass you. English will embarrass you. Yeah.
Remedies.
Yeah, remedies. Yeah. What do they call it? Remedies. Yeah. Finding, you know, the English. Yeah. So it does that. Yeah. But then the Western world, because it's not a Western disorder, it's not a Western illness. Yeah. The research into it has been delayed.
Very slow.
Because again, it's seen as a black people. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you guys. Yeah. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not even in the medical field. Yeah. I haven't seen a white person with sickle cell.
I've never heard.
Yeah. So
never. Everyone that speaks of it, everyone that's exposed me to it, it's always been black, African
or Caribbean. Yeah. So if you guys are out there and you know somebody, or you know, if you're white or Western and you have sickle cell, let us know. And how did that come about? So basically, if your parent, it takes two people. Yeah. I'll give an example because we're here live. Yeah. If Jen has a sickle cell trait, yeah, and I have a sickle cell trait, our kids will end up having full-blown sickle cell. Yeah. If I carry a trait and Jen doesn't, our kids will end up with a trait. Now, if my child then goes on and has a child with somebody that has a trait, their child will then have the sickle cell. Yeah. So that's how it's kind of like goes through the genes. Yeah. And a lot of people don't know their blood type. Yeah. So people will get with each other and not have the conversation, and they'll be like, "Oh, we're in love." Yeah. And then it's like, "Hang on a minute. This is my blood type, and this is your blood type. Let's have a conversation about it." Yeah. So that's kind of like how you would get sickle cell. That's how sickle cell is passed down through the genes. Yeah. So hence people now are so. Awareness raises the awareness month is to raise awareness so that people avoid passing the gene on.
But also keep it as an ongoing conversation.
Exactly.
It's not just a conversation that happens just in September. I think it should be an ongoing conversation, especially when we're talking and we're delving into about love, about intimacy, about potential. If you see someone, it's part of a conversation that we should be having. And it's obviously, like you said, when we're discussing this, it's not like you're shutting the door to say that having sickle cell disorder says that I'm exempt from finding love. Absolutely not. No. I think you're more equipped, you're more tooled up, you're more wise to be like, okay, I'm speaking to John, but John,
and that will bring me to the point of like, okay, so obviously we're saying it here because we
absolutely and we're speaking from a privilege stance, right? Yeah. We don't have it, so
because I can give a real life example. Yeah, like, you know, again, my sister shared this before, so I'm not talking her business, as it were. So when my sister met her now husband, you know, a whole like 22 years ago, she was quite worried about, how do I let this person know that I have this condition? Because this condition would affect how long I live. Absolutely. Would affect if I can have children or not. And is this person willing to take that journey? So sometimes those are the worries, So whereas me and Jen, possibly if we're meeting somebody, talking to somebody, our worries are like, hey, I don't want to be able to handle my family, yeah.
Like, I'll be able to have my kids.
Do you understand what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, somebody with sickle cell was thinking about, would this person reject me for something I had no choice in actually having?
Yeah.
Because I was just born with it. Yeah, Lady Gaga, born this way. Yeah.
Here we go.
Here we go. Like, so it's kind of like, it makes you think about what trauma, what happens to their mental when experiencing this. Because remember, people with sickle cell, not all of them, but they live a different life from us. And
Absolutely.
we had a friend growing up, God bless him, and he's passed now. And he used to come out, but he was always like closed up.
Yeah.
Like even in the summer, would have to, because his mum was trying to protect him from having a crisis because the cold affects it. Certain things will affect them and they'll have a crisis, and then that crisis might go on for like a month. And sometimes that crisis could even lead to death, unfortunately. Like life is so fickle already, but they have less of a chance. So when they're thinking about getting with somebody, they're thinking, am I even going to be here to see the rest of this work out?
It's really crazy though, and how you just said it, that when I'm potentially looking at dating, that's not even, it's more like, oh, when is the right time to actually introduce my kids, or what? It's actually not, it makes you sad, but it makes you realize that you're really in a position of privilege. Like,
when was the last time you went on a date and you thought, oh, what's this black type?
Absolutely never. Like, never.
Do you know what I mean?
Never. It's only when it progresses. And I remember, because of my aunt and certain friends, especially in the Congolese community as well, my mum really did drum it in. If you're going to meet someone, part of the conversation is actually being blunt. Is like, babe, what's your blood type? Like, what? And it doesn't mean that, oh, after you tell me I don't like, no, but it's just so we are aware. Am I carrying a trait? Are you, so it's those conversations are just people's realities.
What Jenna's just saying, it's so true. Like, we owe it to ourselves to actually go and get tested.
Due diligence.
Go and get tested, because once upon a time it used to be like, hey, we're just having a great time, But now we have technology, we're so far with research, we have means to let us know what's going on. Because I think some of the talking points that I wanted to talk about on this episode, I'll write them down, guys, because guys, it's the first episode back, and it's been a long summer. We gotta
talk about it though, and it's very important to us. So.
It's like, so you were saying when and how to share your condition. Because, right, so this is a really silly example, If I was dating someone, and then they were like, and then I was like, oh, in my old life, I used to be, okay, I'll give
in her old life.
Okay, a better example, if Bobrisky wasn't famous, and then now he meets somebody, did he say somebody in my old life I was a man? Like, how do you, so
how is it received?
How is it received? Because it's going to be like, raw. Because obviously if somebody's got sickle cell and you're selling, and remember, if you're dating a black person, their own family might have a stigma about it. And they might even deter the person you're talking to be like, don't go with that person, they've got sickle cell, you're never going to be able to handle it, You're really shaking your head because
It's very true. It's very true. I've heard those conversations, which I was quite angry because I have friends. So it was like, but they're still people. Like, there's a way of advising you to be like, Shields, you've got to be wise, but it's not saying it like they don't deserve love, because that's ridiculous.
Exactly. So with all those stigmas of people, so you can imagine a person that suffers of it. And I have to be so honest here, guys, and I think he might be watching. I don't know if he watches this, I dated I've told this to my...
He's definitely not watching it because you broke his heart probably.
I've already said this to my sister so I can say it out loud, And then, because obviously my sister carries sickle cell, and I don't want anyone to ever think like, oh, but your sister has it. But then I've got my reasons to why I couldn't get with somebody with sickle cell, and that's because I've seen the amount of pain.
It's trauma.
That is true. It's the trauma. I've still got the trauma from seeing my sister go through it all these years. So I've always said I wouldn't choose to be with somebody that had any kind of chronic illness. Because, hey guys, if you're watching this right now, all I need you to do is like, share, and subscribe. Because you're watching it, why not? Because I couldn't. So I dated this guy. This guy was dating me, and then I knew he had sickle cell. I could sense, but I didn't want to judge because there's tell signs like yellow eyes, bone structure, sometimes the frame, the physique, whatever. And then he told me he had sickle cell, and I was just like,
hold on, wait. So how was that conversation? Did he just freely
I actually
give
asked
it up
him.
to you? Okay.
I actually asked him.
Okay, so you put him in a position
I asked him, and I said to him, like, I said, I don't want to overstep here, but just by looking at you, I think you've got the sickle cell, like, you know, you're carrying the sickle cell disorder. And it was like, he told me that he'd been like really ill previously, etc., etc. And I was really open and honest with him, and I said to him, you know what, I don't think I can. He was really upset because it felt like rejection.
Absolutely.
But I had to be so open, honest and transparent with him and say, I deal with it at home all the time, and I don't know if I've got the strength or the bandwidth to continue the next 40, 30, whatever years of it with it, like to that extent. So it was he didn't want to approach it, but because I know it, and if he's going into hospital quite constantly, I'm thinking, okay, this is looking like this, this is looking like that, why are you in hospital for? There's things that you do. So I'm not saying it's an easy conversation, and I know that you might get somebody on the other end who's like me, but then you might get somebody on the other end who's like my brother-in-law, because he was like, hey, I'm okay with it,
which is fine. But I guess it's honest. It's you being honest, and he was able to be honest. And I think maybe whilst he was upset, it was still a safe space for him to actually say, because he could have said no and just let it go. So I guess sometimes your fear is because you've been put in a different situation, whereas me, I've only been exposed to it from an extended angle rather than my aunt. But the pain, it was just, I used to think it was different. So it wasn't really, you know, right close to home as you seeing it every day. So I think whereas for me, it will be different in the conversation. I don't think it would necessarily determine straight away because I don't know what my stance would be. But it's a conversation that I have now, which is strange enough.
I actually agree with you.
That when people that I'm speaking to and the guys that I've been talking to, it's so strange. I think it's also, as an adult, when you grow, these conversations actually become easy, you know. Maybe not from the person, and maybe it's because the guys haven't also had it, but we've been able to have these conversations. And I remember one guy last year saying, oh, how come you brought it up? And I actually said, no, it's because I've realised one of my friends is missing, and that usually means that it's probably an episode and it's a crisis. And it just made me think of it, and it was just like, because already you said you've got kids, I just want to know, you know, but it's conversations that we don't have. Do you even know your blood type?
I'll be honest with you, I don't even know my blood type.
This is it. Whereas I know, because my mum has always been in that stance, as you must know.
I don't know my blood type, but I know I'm not a carrier because I've had many tests, given the fact that my sister, but I know I'm not a carrier, but I don't know my blood type. I'm so ignorant that I should know more, but I don't. And it's like, what you're saying, that it's the conversations that we need to be having. One of my friends got with a guy who had sickle cell, and she didn't know what sickle cell was really. Obviously she knows my sister, but she didn't know the depth of it. So she came to me and she asked me certain things. I gave her the truth. I said to her, this is what it entails, here's what it is, you've got to be ready to be there for that person. And the guy didn't want to tell her that he had it. And I'm like, that's okay, it's his own fear.
But it's also a bit selfish.
But if I tell you the friend's name, you know you understand that the friend left. If I tell you the friend's name, you'll be like, I knew sister so and so. So basically, the friend was like, hey girlfriend, remember that episode that we did? And then she was like, I'll tell you later.
Please don't. Please don't.
No. So basically, it's really looking at the stigma part of it. There are questions that are out there that people will be asking. In this month of awareness. Because we're moving fast, but hopefully we're making sense what we're doing. Because we talked about stigma. Jenna's brought that up. And misconceptions and fears. The common myths is sickle cell contagious?
We've already answered it. You're not good. No, it's not. Let's be for real.
And then, here it is. Does it affect fertility or intimacy?
I my friend who I was speaking of, and it's not to obviously even disclose her name, but she's been able to get married. She's had 2 kids. Given that everything that she goes through, I don't know if it affects fertility, but
I'm going to answer that, and I'm not a doctor again, so that's why I've said it's a case-by-case situation, yeah. The best thing to do is get medical advice from your consultant. Most sickle cell carriers, or, you know, warriors as, you know, they call themselves, have consultants.
Okay.
So you consult with your consultant.
So this would be then about intimacy, about if I'm thinking about if I'm planning for a family.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, so you can actually, but I don't think it affects your fertility. But it might be that you might not carry your children full term. So you might have to have a C-section because, like, your friend's got 2 kids. My sister has 2 kids as well, and all my nieces have been born just a little bit earlier than what the full term would be. But you know, you guys have seen them around. They've grown up. You guys have been watching them grow.
My friend's got beautiful kids.
Yeah,
like,
you know what
flourishing.
I mean? Yeah. So, and they're healthy, they're fit, they're clever, all those things. Yeah. So it doesn't affect it in that sense. But again, it's case by case because some people that have sickle cell might be too scared.
Yeah.
And they might feel like, I don't want to give the chance of my child to go through the ounce of pain that I've gone through. Another question, another stigma that we need to break down, a misconception is it a weakness?
Absolutely not.
It's not a weakness.
Have you seen what these people go through?
Like,
I saw such a frustrating video, and it was like an extended family member who there was no beds for him. There was no bed for him at the hospital on the floor, and to hear a man, he's a man now, what, in his 30s, a man in that much pain.
It's honestly,
I was rattled.
I say to people often, and I'm admitting a lot of things on this podcast today,
These are her confessions.
Asha Raymond. But I say to people, that my sister is stronger than me in so many different ways, because her pain threshold,
is different.
It's
different.
I'm dying,
it's so different.
If I fall sick, it's over.
But that's why they're warriors, because I've never, that's one thing in everything that I've seen, I've never thought it's a weakness. Like maybe pain for them is different, but their life is set up differently.
Their ability to get up and go and do and give more and show up every day is much, and because they're fighting to be in the workspaces, they're fighting to be in the social settings, whereas for us it's like, oh, today I don't feel like going to work in it, let me call in sick, but even if a person that carries sickle cell, because they know they've got this thing that is against them already, because if it's on your CV or your HR, obviously times are changing now, but some people look at say, oh, they might not be able to come in, or they've got sickle cell. But
also that's not right anyway.
It's not right, but I'm just being real. But so that person who's got sickle cell, they're constantly fighting to prove themselves. Whereas me and you, Joe Blog normal, it's like, no, I'm not coming in. I've
got a stomach ache.
You know what I mean? So their threshold and their ability to actually push through makes them warriors.
It's set up different.
That's why it requires strength and resilience. And I know it's not right to use the biblical term of say God cannot give you more than you can handle. But I know for a fact if I had that,
it's a lot. It's a lot, and that's why I'm from an outsider. Even someone like I keep saying to you, because it's literally we're in a position of privilege. Because it's impossible to be in that space and think, oh my God, would I ever be able to? That's strength.
It is a lot of strength.
Hey guys, so you're watching. So what you now need to do is like, subscribe, and what's the other one that they say? Share. Do that. Love you.
And I think as well, what they end up going through is a lot of frustrations. If you look at the frustrations that are common within sickle cells, I wrote these down because I need memory to remember these things. I need help to remember these things. Emotional fears, feelings of rejection, feelings of being a burden,
loss of independence.
Yep, that's it, and unfulfilled dreams.
And the NHS.
I think that is. I'm gonna. The NHS is a big thing.
Big frustration
because they don't really. Not a lot of people understand it,
and they're not equipped. Because we've seen a lot of proof that it's almost like you're just watching me here, and
I need help.
Yeah.
I mean, like aside from my sister, I've got friends, like friends, sisters and brothers that go through this as well. But one thing that I do see a lot, and I'm going to talk about this because unfulfilled dreams, the frustrations and the rejection. We'll talk about rejection in terms of love, whatever, and jobs and things like that, but feeling like a burden, because sometimes they feel like, oh man, my friends are gonna have to carry me, or this person's gonna feel like,
and then
I'm
in
sick
that
all the
space
time.
of even trying to date someone, this is what they'll have to do, this is what is required off of them.
They reject themselves before the world rejects them.
Absolutely.
And I think I'll talk about the unfulfilled dreams, and obviously I think my sister's done a lot of good things, and she's amazing in terms of like her push. But she would say to you, I could say to you that my sister's way clever than me. And I'm a smart kid, but my sister's way smarter than me. You're a smart kid, my sister's way smarter than you. Because how do you place a person that spent 6 weeks in a coma and they come out and get a first in their degree?
One.
How do you place a person that hasn't been to school the whole semester but gets an A star?
I know.
It's crazy. So that person's got, so they can give so much.
Yes.
But because the thing limits them, that's why you become the unfulfilled dreams. Because they have aspirations and they become quite challenged.
It's challenging, but I think in terms of that fear and that, you just got to push through. As hard as it is, I think we're in those spaces now, especially inclusivity. It's, no dream is too small at the end of the day, no matter what. You got to push through.
I think, we've tried to obviously cover this as much as we can in terms of raising awareness. But if you are dating somebody and you're not sure of your blood type, the best thing to do is go and get tested
and have the conversation.
Have the conversation
and just say, I happen to be listening to a podcast and they were having this discussion. And actually, strange enough, we've been talking for 4 weeks, but
what's going on here?
What's this one?
Like, and if you feel like it's going somewhere, have the conversation.
Do you have a trait in your family? Do you?
It's
I think we're at an age now. If you're dating, you can have these conversations.
And I think we're at an age where, like, people are so open to so many things. Do you know what I mean? So have the conversation, and if you're dating for a purpose, especially if you know that you're dating for a purpose, if you know you're going to be having a child, please talk about it, and then also think about how that would impact you, I wrote a little thing down saying, if you're living with sickle cell, trust yourself, your story is worth sharing, and the right person will want to know all of it. Set your boundaries and communicate your needs with confidence. If you're the partner, listen without judgment, learn about sickle cell so you can support from a place of understanding, and remember, your role is to stand alongside them, not to overprotect. So I'll end this on saying, first of all you people out there that are listening, that are watching this, and especially if you're black, donate some blood. Donate. Because blood donation is needed.
It's needed.
We haven't spoken about the transfusions. If you want to get to know that, there's an episode that we did previously that speaks about blood transfusions. But people with the sickle cell disorder live by the blood transfusions. So I've been saying that I'm going to donate for a long time, but every time I wanted to donate, and then I would have traveled, and then I can't do it because I've been out of the country. You've got to do it. So now that I'm in the country,
by the end of the year,
I have to do it. You want to do it?
I want to see you do it. I've done it. I want to see you do it.
When did you do it?
She liked to know.
You did it?
Yeah.
Where?
Because we're associated with NHS as well, so it's always been a thing that I always thought.
I know. I mean, I need to do it. Yeah. But I've always travelled out, and then they said, "Oh, you've just come back from Africa. You can't do it."
Yeah, I remember one time they said I was exposed. I was nearly exposed to malaria, so I couldn't do any of that. So there is, but. I think this is a beautiful, and as much as it may have been like an educating one, I think it's a conversations that need to have, especially for me. It's growing up in an African household. It's seeing people that I went to school with. It's seeing people that I've grown up with live through this. And actually some people are still thriving. No matter what their situations are, they're still thriving. But when we talk about where we place love, dating, a potential someone you see, you've been in 6 months, have these conversations because you're not losing anything at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So, that's my stance.
Let's play ourselves out of Rihanna, without love in a hopeless place. Guys,
it's been real.
It's been real. Thanks for watching. Take care. Yeah.
Toodles.